The film begins with 15-year-old Ava waking up in the dark of the night to the sound of intruders breaking into her home, intending to kill her father, who was a formidable fighter and a notorious criminal. As the intruders draw nearer, Ava reflects on the combat skills her father imparted to her and rushes toward the attackers holding a knife to confront them. In the lobby, the goons kill her father right in front of her. Knowing that this day might come, her father had trained Ava from childhood to face the world's harsh realities. She bravely picks up the gun, channeling her father's lessons, and kills both the goons one by one, transforming her fear into fierce determination. 12 years later, Ava has just emerged from rehab and is on the brink of a new chapter in her life. She is about to marry Derek. However, Derek's father Robert urges him to reconsider, concerned that Ava might relapse into her old habits and the lack of knowledge about her past and family background. Despite his father's concerns, Derek remains steadfast, placing his complete trust in Ava and their future together. Soon after, the couple ties the knot in a beautiful church ceremony, surrounded by family and friends. To celebrate their union, they travel to Spain for their honeymoon, staying at Derek's childhood vacation home. They fully embrace their time together, partaking in thrilling activities like thunder truck rides, jet skiing, and seaplane excursions, while also enjoying romantic and lovable moments together. One evening, they dined at a charming seaside restaurant, engrossed in a romantic conversation while taking in the breathtaking ocean view. In the tranquil ambience, Derek excuses himself to go to the restroom, asking Ava to stay put. Ava sits alone, absorbed in the sea's serene beauty until a stranger named Manny approaches. With a charming smile, he compliments her and expresses interest in getting to know her. Ava subtly reveals that she is on her honeymoon with her husband. As Ava and Manny exchange pleasantries, Derek steps in and introduces himself. Manny eagerly offers to show them the island's hidden gems and promises an exciting zipline adventure the next day. But first, he insists they visit a popular club famous for its romantic vibe. Derek hesitates, but excited Ava encourages him with a cheerful nudge to join the plan. After some persuasion, Derek agrees and they arrive at the club. The atmosphere is more electric than Manny described, with pulsating lights and infectious energy. Ava and Derek lose themselves in the music and dance together. Just then, a local goon, Big Biz, sets his sights on Ava with malicious intent. To create a distraction, he sends a girl to dance with Derek, pulling him away from Ava. Seizing the opportunity, Biz approaches Ava, touching her inappropriately and attempting to dance with her. Derek spots this and steps in, demanding Biz back off many times. Tensions escalate quickly, leading to a heated argument between them. Manny intervenes and tries to defuse the situation, but Biz delivers a brutal punch to Derek's face. Ava, unable to tolerate the situation any longer, reveals her true abilities. She decisively takes down Biz, his associates, and his goons one by one, showcasing her exceptional fighting skills with every precise move. As the club owner Silvio monitors the situation through cameras, Manny quickly takes Derek and Ava to the car and drives them away. Silvio arrives at the club and warns Biz to stop his disruptive behavior. On the way, Manny excitedly praises Ava's fighting skills, remarking he's never seen anything like it. He also warns that Biz is dangerous and they might face retaliation. Derek reassures Ava. The next morning, a loud knock echoes through Derek's door. When they check, it's Manny, who urgently tells them they need to escape immediately because Biz is on his way with his goons to kill them. Derek and Ava panic, not knowing what to do. Manny then chuckles softly, revealing he was just joking. Then he proceeds to lead them to a nearby zip line for an exhilarating adventure. Manny gives them a trial run, with Ava going first. Though initially a bit scared, she clears it with ease. Next, Derek, filming the entire experience, crosses the zip line with excitement. To enhance their adventure, Manny takes them to the island's longest zip line, stretching 1 mile. Ava decides to skip it, but Derek is excited to give it a go. Manny takes the lead, going first once more. After that, Derek takes off, recording the video as he goes. Everything is going smoothly until Derek's harness begins to weaken and tear. By the time Derek notices, the harness completely gives way, forcing him to hang on by his hands. Jojo and Ava watch in horror as the scene unfolds. Manny quickly reaches Derek, attempting to save him by securing him with his legs while moving forward. Despite Manny's efforts, Derek's grip slips and he falls. Manny is terrified, and Ava runs frantically towards Derek to find him. Meanwhile, Jojo urgently calls for an ambulance. Ava searches for Derek in the dense forest, calling out him. After a frantic search, she finally finds him, gravely injured and in a very serious condition. In the next scene, Ava and Jojo are loading Derek into the ambulance while a terrified Manny has vanished. Once Ava attempts to join Derek in the ambulance, the driver refuses her entry, citing an insurance policy that only allows the patient to be transported. Despite Ava's desperate pleas, they hand her a hospital card and drive off. Determined, Ava follows them on her bike but slips while trying to avoid a car. A kind passerby helps her and takes her to the hospital. At the reception, Ava is shocked when Nurse Lita informs her that no patient named Derek has been admitted. Ava presents the hospital card, and Lita confirms Derek isn't there and that the hospital has no insurance agreement with Zipline companies. Ava's mind races as she feels utterly lost. She calls Derek, following the echo of his ringtone through the hospital. She pushes into a room, only to find it isn't Derek. The guard escorts her out, suggesting she check other hospitals. Ava continues her search tirelessly, but finds no trace of Derek. The next day, Derek's father and sister Sandy arrive, and they go to the police station to file an FIR. Ava explains the situation to the inspector, showing Manny's photo and mentioning Jojo, as well as presenting the hospital card. However, the inspector soon discovers that Derek isn't listed in any nearby hospital. When questioned, Ava explains that the ambulance driver had refused to let her accompany Derek. Robert grows suspicious of Ava, questioning whether she might be under the influence of drugs, which could be causing all this mess. The inspector speculates that Derek might have been kidnapped, as wealthy Americans are often targeted for abduction in Spain. Soon after, they subsequently visit the Zipline with the inspector, where the owner states that he does not know Manny and confirms that he does not work there. The owner leads them to Jojo, whom Ava immediately recognizes. However, Jojo denies knowing her and insists to the inspector that Ava and Derek were never there, and he does not know Manny either. Ava, seething with anger, grabs Jojo by the collar and threatens him to tell the truth. Despite her intimidation, Jojo stubbornly sticks to his lie. The inspector intervenes to calm Ava's escalating anger. The uneasy owner insists Ava be removed, calling her out of her mind. The inspector shows Ava the club brawl footage and asks for an explanation. Ava recounts the details, mentioning Big Biz. The inspector accuses her of being under the influence of drugs, suggesting it led to her violent actions. He also speculates that she may have conspired with Biz to make Derek disappear for his inheritance. Furious, Ava storms out, determined to find her husband on her own. The three of them roam the streets with Derek's photo, questioning people throughout the night, but they fail to uncover any information about him. At home, Derek's father once again raises the club incident. During their argument, Ava suggests that the police might be colluding with Biz, which is why no action is being taken. Despite this, Robert continues to suspect her of harming Derek to claim his property. Ava responds oddly to the accusation and then retreats to her room in anger. The next day, Robert and Sandy leave Ava on the island to search for Derek and head back to America. After they leave, Ava arrives at the Zipline and takes her turn instead of the other person. Jojo becomes concerned upon seeing her and starts calling the owner, but before he can do so, Ava takes off with him. Ava threatens to drop him in the middle of the Zipline to force him to tell the truth. Terrified, Jojo confesses that Manny is behind everything and he called the ambulance, and that Manny forced him to lie and he doesn't know Manny's current whereabouts. Ava records his confession as evidence and immediately takes it to the inspector, urging him to find Manny so he can locate Derek. Instead of taking action, the inspector orders his officers to arrest Ava. Ava tries to escape by punching a policeman, but she is swiftly cornered by several officers who leave no stone unturned in their efforts to control her. Eventually, they manage to handcuff her. The inspector tells Ava that she is being arrested for allegedly forcing Jojo to confess to a crime while endangering his life and will be transferred to Puerto Rico for adjudication. Ava is being escorted to a cruise by a policeman. As ideas begin to form in her mind, she requests permission to use the washroom. He reluctantly agrees and follows her to the washroom for security. Since her hands are handcuffed, Ava asks the policeman to come inside and assist her. The policeman helps her, but casts a lecherous look in her direction. She requests the policeman to bring her a tissue. As he steps forward to get it, she strikes him, knocking him out cold. Seizing the moment, she frees herself from the handcuffs and swiftly leaps off the cruise. Afterward, she changes her clothes at a restaurant. That evening, in a carefully crafted disguise, she revisits the same club where Manny had taken her. Ava spots Manny enjoying himself with a group of girls. She takes a seat at a distance, biding her time for the perfect moment. Soon, Manny heads toward the bathroom. Ava follows him to the washroom, locks the door behind them, and then launches an attack, subduing and capturing him. She repeatedly demands information about Derek with his face pressed against the toilet seat, but he consistently responds that he doesn't know anything. He admits that he instructed Jojo to lie because he was afraid of being arrested by the police for living illegally on the island. Ava shows him a sketch of the ambulance driver and asks for information about them. Manny identifies them as Omar and Tito, two of the most notorious criminals in the area. Ava asks Manny for their whereabouts, and he agrees to assist her. In the next scene, Manny brings Ava to his house. Manny's mother mistakenly believes that Ava is his girlfriend, but Manny quickly clarifies the situation. He then shows Ava to her room, asks her to get some rest, and informs her they will search for Derek together in the morning. In the morning, Manny and Ava set out to search for Derek. They visit numerous locations and question many people, but they uncover no information about Derek. Suddenly, she notices a poster on a nearby wall featuring the same tattoo that was drawn on Omar's hand. Manny sees the poster and explains it points to a popular cockfighting venue. They quickly arrive at the site, but Manny asks Ava to stay in the car. He then goes into the venue, showing it to Ava via video call, and tries to identify Omar and Tito. Manny eventually spots Tito leaving the venue and alerts Ava by sending her an email. Ava sees Tito outside and takes Manny's car to follow him, leaving Manny behind. Ava begins following Tito and texts her location to Manny. Tito soon stops at a location and enters a dilapidated building. Ava follows him cautiously. When Tito notices her, he swings a baseball bat at her but fails to connect. Ava overpowers Tito, injuring him in the process. She then interrogates him in a room, but he refuses to disclose any information. In response, Ava resorts to puncturing his stomach to extract answers. He cannot endure the pressure and admits to Ava that he doesn't know much, except that Omar received money from someone to drop her husband at a specific location. He also reveals that Omar is the one who knows all the details. Ava texts Omar from Tito's phone, luring him to the location. When Omar arrives, Ava attacks him, but he quickly overpowers her. In the struggle, Ava is forced to shoot him. With Omar's death, any information about Derek is lost as well. In the next scene, Ava sits in a jail cell, subjected to a high-stakes interrogation by the inspector. Despite her claims that Derek is alive and her revelation that Tito and Omar admitted to transporting him in the ambulance, the inspector remains unconvinced. He charges Ava with deliberately causing Derek's death. To further complicate matters, the inspector orders Ava's transfer to headquarters for an in-depth investigation into the murders of Omar and Tito. Additionally, he informs her that Derek's father and sister are demanding the harshest punishment possible. At night, Ava is led into the dense forest by two policemen. As the situation becomes clear, she realizes they intend to execute her rather than take her to headquarters. A short distance away, the policemen stop in an empty field and start digging a pit. Her worst fears are confirmed when she discovers the inspector's involvement in the conspiracy. Seizing the moment, Ava discreetly dislocates her thumb, freeing her hand from the handcuffs. Unnoticed, as one of the policemen approaches, she swiftly dispatches him with a lethal slash to the neck. She then turns and finishes off the second policeman with a precise strike. After, the inspector receives a threatening call from Ava, who demands that he come to his daughter's room. In a panic, he retrieves a gun from a hidden compartment and heads to the room. Upon arrival, Ava threatens to kill his daughter if he doesn't reveal the truth. Panicked, he reveals that the doctor who operated on Derek was impaired by drug use, and it was this critical error that caused Derek's death. The inspector also explains the rationale behind his actions. Years ago, he had accidentally impregnated a girl, and the doctor had helped him suppress the case. In return for that favor, he now felt obligated to protect the doctor and cover up Derek's case. Upon hearing the full story, Ava presents the inspector with two grim options. Either he shoots himself or he retreats to the washroom and takes his own life with a knife. He chooses the second option. Ava arrives at Manny's house, crying and overcome with grief. She informs him that Derek is dead and reveals the involvement of both the doctor and the inspector in the tragedy. Manny consoles Ava and advises her to leave for America the next morning. He assures her that he will assist her in making the necessary arrangements, but Ava has other plans. The next morning, she goes to the same hospital where Derek was treated. Ava tracks down Lisa, the receptionist, attacks her, and knocks her unconscious. She then uses Lisa's car to force her way into the hospital. Inside the hospital, she confronts the doctor mentioned by the inspector. After subjecting him to intense torture to extract the truth, the doctor, unable to endure any longer, reveals that he can help her get her husband back. He warns her, though, that she must follow his instructions to secure her husband's return. The doctor shows her the security camera footage as proof, which shows goons entering the hospital with Derek. After a while, Silvio, the club owner, emerges from the elevator with Derek and his henchmen. It turns out that Silvio, not Biz, was behind everything. Ava disguises herself as a nurse according to the doctor's plan. Silvio, upon seeing her, tries to flirt with her and checks her out by inappropriately touching her. In the operating room, the doctors start extracting bone marrow cells from Derek to transfer to Silvio. Ava expertly administers a sedative injection to Silvio, rendering him unconscious. Moments later, when he realizes this, he becomes furious and confronts the doctor. But before he can act, Ava steps in, brandishing a gun. She forces the doctor and Silvio's henchmen to surrender their weapons and takes them out one by one. Ava prepares to take Derek with her, but Silvio stops her. He explains that he is suffering from a rare type of cancer and has been unable to find a matching donor. Then, Silvio offers Ava anything she wants in return for Derek's blood cells, emphasizing that he never meant to harm Derek but needed his help. But Ava ignores Silvio's plea and leaves with Derek. As Ava attempts to escape, she encounters one of Silvio's men in the corridor. A tense gunfight erupts, but Ava swiftly overpowers him. She then makes a quick escape into the elevator with Derek. In the elevator, Ava exhales deeply, her face reflecting a sense of relief and satisfaction as she takes a moment to regroup. As Ava and Derek emerge from the hospital, Silvio and his goons open fire. She shoots the cylinders, triggering a massive explosion. Seizing the moment, Ava holds Silvio at gunpoint and then drives away with him in his car. Ava contacts Manny to let him know she's on her way. Derek, still holding a gun, aims it at Silvio. When Silvio mocks Derek, he responds by shooting him in the leg. Silvio falls out of the car but manages to crawl to his men's vehicle and begins pursuing them. Meanwhile, Manny assigns his young friends the task of directing Ava and Derek along the route. With the children's help, they effortlessly reach Manny. Silvio arrives with his men, but some children push a car into their path, blocking their way. As Silvio finally arrives after a strenuous effort, the children retaliate by pelting them with coconuts. Manny, with the help of his friends, is transporting Ava and Derek across the river on a bamboo raft when Silvio arrives with his men and opens fire. In the ensuing chaos, the three of them are forced to swim across the river to escape. Fortunately, they avoid any gunfire and safely reach the other side of the river and quickly get into their car to make their escape. And shortly thereafter, Manny brings Ava and Derek to his home. Meanwhile, some of Silvio's informants provide him with Ava and Derek's location, prompting him and his men to enter Manny's neighborhood. They first enter Manny's house and threaten him to reveal Derek and Ava's whereabouts. Despite their repeated threats, Manny refuses to divulge any information. Silvio then tries to extract the truth from Manny by threatening his younger brother. However, after facing the mother's threats, Silvio leaves the scene, warning Manny to cooperate. Silvio and his men search all the nearby houses and question the residents, but no one reveals any information. During the search, Ava encounters a man and swiftly kills him. Here, despite being in a serious condition, Derek bravely takes down another man. Seeing that several of his men have been killed by Ava, Silvio grabs a gun and challenges her to confront him bravely. Ava launches an attack on Silvio, sparking a fierce battle between them. Silvio initially gains the upper hand, but Ava soon turns the tide, overpowering him and pressing a knife to his neck. The police locate Derek and escort him out. Everyone present, including Derek, intervenes to stop Ava from killing Silvio and urges her to drop the knife. Just then, Biz arrives on the scene. He carefully and patiently calms Ava and takes the knife from her. He then declares that kidnapping or harassing tourists on the island is unforgivable. He then blindfolds all the children and executes Silvio by slitting his throat with the knife. He offers the police twice the amount of money taken from Silvio to secure Ava and Derek's release and orders Ava and Derek to return to America. In the final scene, Manny takes them to the seashore, where they prepare to continue their journey by boat. He embraces each of them in turn, and Ava expresses her heartfelt thanks. As they depart in the boat, the film concludes with the resolution of their harrowing adventure. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and turn on all notifications to stay updated with our latest content.